Hi there, Trevor here from Double Bill Movies. Well, in my third episode of How Physical Media is Made, if you've seen it, you'll know that I was standing outside of Pinewood Studios. The reason for that was I used to work there. I spent 7 wonderful years working there and got quite a few cool sort of little stories. And so what I thought I'd do was a little series just on my time at Pinewood, basically. And I thought I'd start it off with one film, which was kind of quite exciting, really. So let me paint the picture. We turned up for work, everything was normal. So out of the windows of our production room, when I was at Testronics, I mean, at first when I started there, all the windows were boarded up because we needed the privacy, I suppose, to do our job. But they kind of found out that a lot of people were getting unwell because there was no sunlight coming into the production room. So finally they opened up the windows, which allowed us to actually open them and let air in as well. And so one day I turn up and all the regular cars are parked where they are. And I think we went for lunch, and we came back from lunch and glanced out the window and, hang on, we just time travelled to the 1950s. Well, in a way we had. The entrance, or what used to be the old entrance, which is where I stood in my third episode, had been dressed for a movie. And all of a sudden there were all these 1940s and 50s cars parked, instead of all the early 2000s cars and things and whatever was parked there before. It was really like, oh wow, this is cool. So our building was right next to that road that comes in from that entrance. And I think, so just watched this film last night, and I think there's kind of an overhead shot of a car going in, and there is a red brick wall, and I do wonder if that was the building. Doesn't matter if it's not. And now the cars that we saw parked weren't sort of prominently in the shot or anything, but so they would have totally redressed the outside of those gates where I was stood, take away anything modern that's obviously not right for the 50s. And the photograph that I put right in the middle of that video, which had the Pinewood sign, they obviously put that back for the movie. I think they must have done the filming at the weekend, because most of us wouldn't have been there wanting to get in the way, and it saves them having to shuttle the car parks and everything and stopping us getting in. So that's, like I said, when I can imagine they did the shooting for this film I'm about to show you. And they used that entrance quite a lot in the film. So no point in talking about it if I'm not going to tell you what it is. It turned out to be a lovely film called My Week with Marilyn. And it's got, you know, quite an all-star cast. So let's see, we've got Michelle Williams, who played the lovely Marilyn Monroe, and believe me, we all know that Marilyn Monroe was absolutely stunning and had a figure to die for. Michelle Williams likewise looks absolutely stunning, and you do get to see her figure, believe me. So we have Kenneth Branagh, and he played Laurence Olivier. Now, he had a false chin on, which made him look a little bit odd. And to be honest, I think Laurence was quite a tall man. Kenneth is not that tall. So yeah, I'm not quite sure why he was picked to play the part, but yeah, he done an okay job. So then we got Eddie Redgrave, and he plays the young man that's trying to break into the film industry. And so basically there was a diary kept, and in that diary there was a week missing. I'm not sure of the background as to when that week was found, or who suddenly then filled in that week. Basically, this film is about that week from this diary. And so, oh, what was his name? This is terrible, isn't it? Let me get the glasses out. Let's see if I can find a name, because it was something Clark, but I can't call him something, can I? So, Colin Clark, there we go. So yes, Colin Clark, he was trying to break into the film industry, and he kind of got in there, and he became a third assistant director to Laurence Olivier in a film that he was directing and also starring in. So you also have Judi Dench, oh, Dame Judi Dench, but she was just cast as Judi Dench in this. And she plays an aging actress, but is to play alongside Marilyn Monroe in this movie that they're making. Emma Watson is in it. She works in sort of wardrobe, so occasionally she's on set doing bits and bobs. Basically Eddie Redmayne's character Colin Clark starts off having a relationship with Emma Watson's character. Sorry, I forget her name because she's not very big in the movie. Anyway, obviously some kind of relationship happens between Colin and Marilyn, and I think it was really nicely handled, very well portrayed. From what I imagine, you know, not necessarily scandalous, the relationship, because she was married at the time, but her husband came over with her to help her do the film, but he ends up going back to New York. And there's a lovely scene where Marilyn and Colin are out, and she turns to him, what can we do next? And he says, well, why don't we go to Windsor Castle? So a policeman had been assigned to Marilyn since the day she arrived, basically. So he drives them to Windsor Castle. They meet another constable at the gate of Windsor Castle, and he kind of needs not proof of who she is, but some kind of contact or reason as to why she should be allowed in to visit the castle, and, you know, without paying, sort of thing, or whatever. She said that she'd met the Queen, and the Queen had said what a lovely dress she had at a premiere that they were at. But anyway, basically Colin pipes in and says that his uncle is the librarian there. Sir, again, forgotten his name, but played by Derek Jacobi. And there's a lovely scene in the library. Marilyn looks at all the books and says, oh, I wish I could read them all. But he basically says most of them are just filled with pictures. And of course, you know, the castle's really old, so the books, a lot of them are really old. And he's showing them pictures. And as they're having the general chit-chat conversation, the librarian says, oh, the Queen was sad to miss you. And, you know, the Queen obviously wasn't at home. And Marilyn's kind of really taken aback, like, wow, the Queen remembered me. And so it really shows, one, the sort of the conflict she had with trying to be a really good actress. She was obviously very naturally gifted, and I don't just mean in her figure, but her looks and her voice, and she obviously could act. But Laurence Olivier was quite harsh on her whilst directing, and as portrayed in the movie. But it's a lovely film. It's a lovely story. It's quite a tragic story in a way. But just that 1 week, a look into Marilyn Monroe's life, and you sort of think, wow, all that she went through, and, you know, no wonder her life ended early the way it did. And but I suppose there's a little bit more to me watching this than just seeing a great film about Marilyn Monroe. And of course that is for me to see Pinewood again, from inside. And you know, because what's great about this film is they're making a film within a film at the studio that the original film they're making within the film was made. And yeah, I don't want to confuse you, but I know what I'm talking about. And it was lovely to see the soundstage doors back in the old green. I must dig up my pass somewhere, and the band on the pass is the green that is Pinewood's green, if you see what I mean. And to see the corridors and the Lawrence and some of the other entourage, let's say, walking down these corridors, and I've walked down the same corridors. Now, you know, they may have just picked the corridors just for filming purposes, but I would imagine there's some kind of reality to it, that well, this scene or this conversation took place whilst we were walking this way. And to think that Marilyn Monroe was over here for such a short period of time. It wasn't just a week, it was you know, a few months shooting the film, but she walked those corridors. So as I said, I've walked those corridors, and just the whole thing of working at Pinewood Studios, just, you're in such a magical place. So much has happened there. So many films have been made. So many of our favourite films have been made. So many of the best films in the world have been made there. Of course, it's the home to the famous 007 stage, which is one of the biggest sound stages in Europe. And you know, the reason that a lot of the American productions come over to use it is because it's bigger than the sound stages they have in the US. It's hard to believe when the US is so big that they seem to build such small sound stages. But so yeah, this film now has a special place, not just in my collection, but in my heart. I love Pinewood Studios. I miss it so much. I really wish I could, you know, get back there somehow to work in one capacity or another. But like I said, I do have some other stories, and they're pretty cool, pretty interesting. So this will be the first episode of this new little series, My Time at Pinewood. And I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment. Did any of you work at Pinewood? If any of you stood outside Pinewood, or know anyone who works at Pinewood, or do you work at a studio somewhere? Because obviously there's plenty of others in the UK, and there's plenty of others around the world. Let me know, what role do you work in? I'm fascinated to know. And see you in the next episode, or my next video. Take it easy.